Most people say yes when they mean no, and it costs them more than they think. Oh, Elena, good timing. What do you need?
The team just sent over 3 new requests, all urgent. They need everything by tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning? For all 3? Did you already tell them yes?
I did. I always do. Saying no just feels uncomfortable. What if they think I'm not a team player?
That concern makes sense. But here is what I noticed. When we say yes to everything, the quality of our work starts to go down. And that costs the relationship more than a clear no ever would.
So how do you say no without affecting the relationship?
That is exactly what we are covering today. How to say no professionally in English, manage your workload, and keep your working relationship strong. But before we get to the phrases, let's look at why this feels uncomfortable in the first place.
Marcus, I often wonder why I find it so difficult to say no at work. Even when my schedule is full, I still feel the urge to agree.
Marcus, I often wonder why I find it so difficult to say no at work. Even when my schedule is full, I still feel the urge to agree.
I think a lot of people feel that way, Elena. It usually comes down to a few thoughts we have about our role.
Is it just because we want to be helpful?
That is part of it. But often it is the concern about letting others down. We worry that if we decline a request, people will think we are not capable or not fully committed.
That sounds familiar, Marcus. And there is also the concern about being left out of an opportunity. If we are not seen as cooperative, we may not be considered for the next one.
We assume that saying yes is what a good team player does. We think it makes our position more secure.
But does saying yes all the time actually lead to better results?
That is the real point, Elena. When you accept every task without checking your schedule, the quality of your work starts to go down. You end up rushing. And when people notice the errors, they begin to lose confidence in your work, not because you said no, but because you said yes too many times.
So agreeing to everything just to seem helpful might actually cost us the trust of the people we work with.
When you manage your time well, you are not being difficult. You are showing that you care about the quality of your work. True professionals know that saying no to one thing allows them to say yes to the right things.
That makes sense, Marcus. I want to see how this works in real conversations, actual phrases I can use at work right away. What are we looking at next?
Next, we go through 4 real workplace scenarios. I will show you the exact phrases to use in English when you need to manage your workload professionally and keep the conversation respectful on both sides. Let's get into it.
Marcus, let's look at the first situation. Your manager asks you to finish a new report by tonight, but you are already working on other tasks. How do we respond without simply saying yes?
Elena, a lot of people go to one of 2 responses. Either, no, I cannot do it, which sounds too direct, or I will try, which sounds uncertain. Neither one works in your favor.
That is right. One makes us look difficult, the other makes us look unsure. So what is the better approach?
Try this instead. I am happy to handle this. Given my current project list, if I start on this report now, we will need to adjust the deadline on the other files. Does that work for you?
I see. You're not saying no. You're showing your manager the effect of adding this task to your current workload.
You put the decision back with the manager. You show you are willing to work and you are honest about your time. It sounds professional because you are speaking about facts, not excuses.
That is very clear. Now, what about clients, Marcus? They often send urgent requests late in the day. How do we handle that?
For a client, the approach needs more thought, Elena. If someone asks for an urgent update, do not just say, yes, no problem. That creates an expectation that becomes more difficult to maintain each time.
So what is the professional response in that case?
Say this: I would like to support this request. To make sure I can deliver the quality you expect, may I confirm where this sits against my other open tasks?
Using the word quality tells the client you care about the result, not just your own schedule.
That is the point. You move the focus from doing it fast to doing it well. Most clients will give you more time when they hear you are focused on the quality of your work.
These small word choices change how we are seen at work. Marcus, what about when someone asks us directly in a meeting? No time to think and an answer is expected right away.
That is a good one to look at, Elena.
Let's look at that next. Marcus. The third situation happens in meetings. Someone suddenly asks if your team can take on a new project, and everyone looks at you. It is a lot to answer right away.
I know that feeling, Elena. That moment of silence feels very long. Most people say yes right away just to avoid the silence in the room.
Committing without checking your team's schedule is not fair to anyone. What is a better way to respond without sounding uncooperative?
Try saying this. That is an interesting request. I would like to check our team's schedule before I give you a firm answer. Could we follow up on this after I have had a look?
You handle the moment well, and you stay respectful. You are not saying no. You are just asking for the right time to give a proper answer.
It shows you take the request seriously, and you also respect your team's workload. Now, for the final situation, what happens when a coworker asks you to help with tasks that are outside your role?
That comes up often. We want to be helpful, but we also have our own work to finish.
The goal is to respond honestly, without making the other person feel ignored. Try this. I would like to help with this. Right now, I need to finish what I am working on. Let me check my schedule, and I will get back to you later this week.
That works well. You are not saying no right away. You are being honest about where your time is right now.
When we are clear about our availability, people learn that when we say yes, we actually mean it. That is how a working relationship stays healthy over time.
These 4 situations cover the most common requests we deal with at work. Marcus, there is one more part to cover: the mindset behind the words.
You're right, Elena. Knowing what to say is one part. Knowing how to think about it is what keeps you calm when the moment arrives. Let's look at that next.
We have looked at what to say when a request comes in at work, but even the right words may not feel natural if we are still uncertain inside. How do we build the calm that makes these phrases work?
That is the right question. It starts with one simple truth. Your time is not unlimited. You cannot give the same level of attention to every request that comes your way.
I think many of us feel that saying no means we are less committed to our work, but managing our time well is actually what shows commitment.
When you say yes to every small request, you have less time and energy for the work that actually matters in your role. People do not respect someone who is always busy but never finishes anything well. They respect people who deliver.
So the mindset is less about being available and more about focusing on what produces results.
Yes, and it becomes much easier to say no when you are clear about your main goals for the week. If a request does not connect to those goals, you have a reason to wait, and it is a professional one.
That changes how I think about it. Instead of worrying about conflict, I should be more focused on what I actually need to finish.
And you do not need to explain yourself every time. A short, honest answer is enough. Something like, I have a lot on my schedule this week. Can we look at this again next Monday? That is polite, it is clear, and it keeps the working relationship in good shape.
So it is not about avoiding work, it is about choosing the work that you can actually do well.
When you are clear about your time, the people around you learn to trust your yes because they know it is real.
Now that we have covered both the words and the thinking behind them, I think our viewers need a chance to put this into practice themselves.
Agreed. Let's give them something to work with.
Let's put today's phrases to the test. Here is a situation. Your manager walks in and says, "We need this finished by tomorrow morning." How do you respond? Here are 3 options. Option A, no, that is not possible. Option B, okay, I will do my best. Option C, I can work on this. To make sure the other tasks are not affected, can we go through my schedule together?
That is a good one. Each option tells us something different about how you handle requests at work. Drop your answer in the comments, A, B, or C, and tell us why you chose it.
We will read through the comments and pick out the most thoughtful responses to discuss in the next video. So take a moment, think it through, and leave your answer below.
Before we finish, I want to say one more thing. Using professional English well is not about finding the perfect words.
That is right. It is about being honest about your time, staying respectful with the people around you, and giving a clear answer when someone needs one from you.
If today's conversation gave you one phrase you can use at work this week, that is enough. Save this video so you can come back to it when you need a reminder.
We put out new conversations every week on professional English for the workplace. If this one was useful, subscribe so you do not miss the next one.
Thank you for watching today. How you speak at work reflects how you think. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes.
We will see you in the next video.
See you then.